is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just stop. This is a sham. Welcome to DBL. Happy Monday, everybody. Good weekends?
Yeah. Such good weekends. And like, honestly, coming in here, you know, I'm seeing you guys. So I was talking and I was like, when the camera's coming to us, I was like, do I have my mic on? I was talking to Erica about hot yoga. So we've been doing everything, but like, now we can do the show.
You've been crushing yoga, huh?
I did it 3 times last week. I liked it. A little hot yoga, lots of sweating.
We see you out.
I'm just saying also.
Dude, I kind of want to jump in one of those classes because I tend to get the giggles in yoga. Like, I'm not one of the guys. Like, listen, you could breathe out. You don't need to be like,
the fire breath.
That's weird for me.
And then if I look over at you, I think we'll like get the giggles.
We will. We got separate classes.
All right, let's get to some important stuff. Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker got married again this weekend. If you're keeping count, that's number 3. So this one was a lavish ceremony in Italy. Kourtney wore this gorgeous veil with a depiction of the Virgin Mary, which is reportedly a nod to Travis's head tattoo. It also featured the words family, loyalty, and respect. Live, laugh, love.
I thought that was Lil Kim's album title.
Kourtney wore a white Dolce & Gabbana corseted mini dress that was inspired by 1960s Italian lingerie, according to Vogue. Chris walked Kourtney down the aisle in this pink gown covered in feathers. It all took place at this Italian castle, which they rented, and of course, the family changed looks for the after party. Kim wore this jewel-encrusted corset, and Kourtney changed into a black mini dress. Andrea Bocelli performed at the wedding, serenading the couple, and as you can see, Kourtney and Travis look like they're very deeply in love. A lot to cover there, but Andrea Bocelli, what are you doing, man? You're a wedding singer now? He's like the best singer in the whole...
Wedding singer.
He's like the best singer in the whole world. When he sings, I like get emotional. Now you're doing show tunes at a wedding?
It's not a show tune. They're in the Dolce & Gabbana castle. Like, amongst all of this opulence, like, it makes sense. Okay?
He's probably taking requests. That's embarrassing.
First of all, he probably is. Like, look, man, Jeff, it's so weird we're having this conversation because this weekend I was in Trader Joe's and I always like go over what I said during the week and I'm like, do I agree with what I said? And I thought about Travis and I was like, I'm going to back up a little bit and here's why. When we came out of the pandemic, I said, for at least a year or two, Tori, everybody do what you want to do. We've been locked in our houses, and if you want to go out and parachute 10 times, do whatever. And if they want to have a bunch of weddings, if it was post-pandemic, I would make jokes, but I'm like, I have to give, everybody gets a year. You do what you want, Tori. If you want to have 14 weddings, you want to have a wedding every weekend, have at it. I think it's strange, but I promised myself I would not judge anybody for a year for how you came out of the pandemic, so I'm sorry to Travis.
So good for you not casting stones. That's great. That's really cool. The thing is, if you follow Kourtney's story, she had a long time, you don't, with Scott Disick, and it was not great for really either of them. And for someone who likes the Kardashians like me, it's really kind of like lovely to see a Kourtney that's smiling in a real way. So I thought it was absolutely lovely.
It seems like you like this reboot. A lot of people do.
Very happy with them, and Dolce & Gabbana is all over it. So good for them.
Yeah, I'm going to give people 6 to 10 years to do what they want.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, because also not only are we doing things based on the fact that our inability to do them, a lot of the things that I'm doing now are based on the fact that there's so many people who are not here to do them and to carry that on for them. You know, I think anytime there's a reason to get together, I mean, y'all know me. If there's a reason to get together and celebrate something in a big way, I'm going to do it. And I feel like this is just another thing for people who have an already very opulent, you know, resourceful life, that if they're going to do a celebration, it's going to be over the top.
Yeah, it has to be.
I don't have a problem with this.
Yeah.
I also think that there could possibly be a Dolce & Gabbana collaboration with the Kardashians.
There has to be. There has to be.
Well, we're getting to that. So, of course, the wedding was a multi-day affair. And if you take a look at all of the pictures that the family, what they wore this weekend, as far as we could tell, like Erica was saying, it's all Dolce & Gabbana. So Kourtney wore this D&G bustier mini dress with blue and black veil on Saturday. Khloe wore this leopard print D&G gown from the 90s to the welcoming dinner. And check out Chris in in this green lace D&G caftan. So apparently the entire family has been pulling looks from the D&G archives for the past 3 months, and they stayed at the Dolce & Gabbana estate, according to TMZ. This wedding seemed like a giant advertisement, like Eric was saying, for D&G. How many times did I say D&G? And do you think
like you're doing
the family got everything for free? That's, I think, everyone's question. I would say, of course, they
Nothing's free. No.
No. But you're saying
like no cash.
Not cash,
yeah.
but it's going to be a trade-off.
Well, that would be an in-kind endorsement or in-kind collaboration, but that doesn't mean free. I think we need to be careful when we say things are free, because that implies that you got it and had to do nothing as a result. It's just not true.
Don't we kind of assume, like, if we see somebody at a, some gala or something, an A-list celebrity, and they're wearing something, you assume that they got it for free, right? That they're being representing it.
What's weird to me about this collab, because I do think it's a collab, and I think Kris Jenner, if anyone, knows that currency isn't always money. It's like eyeballs. If anyone gets that, it's she. But she and Dolce & Gabbana have not always gotten along. In 2018, Gabbana called them the most cheap people in the world. So this is a little turnaround from that, and they stayed on his yacht. So whatever it is, it seems planned, because Kris Jenner doesn't do anything that's not planned. And I do think we'll see like a look that both of them are in coming out together. But this is they had to woo them back because they had some tension.
Anytime somebody calls me cheap, if they put me on their yacht, like, I'll forgive it.
and dress everybody at my wedding.
That kind of
hating with the seagulls around us.
You're forgiven. All right, someone who wasn't at the wedding this weekend, Kim's boyfriend, Pete Davidson, of course. That's because he was in New York for his final appearance on SNL. Pete is best known for his singing parodies on the show, and during his final one, he chose to honor SNL's executive producer, Lorne Michaels. Let's take a look.
What do you say about a comedy great? Been doing it himself for half a century straight. Want to talk about all the crazy people he made? Every single decade has ridiculous names like David Spade, Belushi, Wiggin, Farley, Aykroyd, Gilda, Sandler, and Carvey, Farrell, Morgan, Will Forte, Norm Macdonald, and Tina Fey. Max forgot about Norm.
What are you doing, man?
Oh! Yo, what's up, dude?
It's another parody? It's like another tribute or something?
Yeah, it's like the third one.
Yeah. I would just stop.
What?
Yeah, they all suck.
That was really good.
I would just stop.
Pete has been on the show for 8 years and got a little choked up during his goodbye speech on Weekend Update. Let's watch.
Hello, Colin and Che and millions of people only watching to see if I bring up Kanye. And I appreciate SNL always having my back and allowing me to work on myself and grow. And, thank you to Lorne for never giving up on me or, judging me, even when, like, everyone else was, and for believing in me and allowing me to have a place that, like, I could call home with the memories that'll last a lifetime. So thank you, guys.
Pete Davidson. Pete's a talented guy, man. I think because he's self-deprecating and makes fun of himself, a lot of people don't take him serious, but he's a very talented man.
Not only talented, I think it's important to just hear some context. Not only did Pete lose his father as a firefighter in 9/11, and Lorne Michaels certainly seemed to have stepped into a fatherly figure for him, we also have to know that he went through rehab and getting sober in some ways on SNL. These people saved his life. So there's a connection there that, although you might think, Pete, it's all funny, I think for him that transition means a lot.
I watched, what was it, The King of Staten Island?
Yeah.
Right.
His movie. Yeah. And I felt like there was just this glimpse into who he was, like a part of who he was. Not saying that the movie was 100% based on him, but it was a good movie. Like, it really was an endearing thing to watch. It's goofy as hell, but
Bird's great.
I mean, I laughed. I sincerely laughed. I think, you see something like this, and he's obviously closing this chapter in his life, and that's such a big deal to make sure that you're doing that on your own terms. And I know a lot of people are saying it's because, he's in on that Kardashian money now, and it's like, that might be a part of it. But also, life is really about being prepared for the opportunity when the opportunity presents itself. And I don't think that anybody can say anything derogatory about what he's done in his resume. So if he's ready for this next chapter, that's great.
What do you think that is? Did he write? I believe he wrote King of Staten Island, right? He wrote and directed it, because it was based a little bit on his father, like you said. Do you think that's where his life is going, or do you think he'll stay in with the comedy?
I think, you know, as somebody that was a comic, and I keep saying was, but I am currently a comic, but obviously this is my main job now. You do have to kind of say goodbye to a part of yourself when you're no longer this touring, traveling performer. And I think I can only speak for myself. When you do get a taste of stability, a taste of not being in a hotel, not eating food that you don't know who cooked it, it's intoxicating for entertainers. And I think Pete was like, oh, I can just go to this place and people I love are always behind that door.
It's a family.
Yeah, and like these people have my back, and I can still do comedy from time to time and be Pete, but it's really cool after you've been an entertainer for a long time to just be a boring stepdad. It's the best to just sit there. Jeff, you don't ever talk about, you're a famous dude, man. And for all you are. And you could be anywhere that you want on any weekend, but you're with your family, barbecuing and fixing up your mudroom because that's what you love to do. Because being a dad,
world famous.
And I wouldn't even say famous because
Jeff, you are famous.
If I could go somewhere and afford it, I would, and I can't.
My favorite thing that you ever said was like, I'm not super famous, but I can shut down an Olive Garden.
I can't shut it down. I might cause a minor stir. I might cause a minor stir. If I'm in Oklahoma and I'm at the Olive Garden,
watch it.
Come see.
Security.
People are telling stories that weekend. That's right. Jordan has to be with me too. Yeah. All right. Coming up on DBL, our interview with comedian Craig Robinson. He tells us all about his time playing Daryl on The Office, and Laura Dern is addressing the big age gap with her love interest in Jurassic Park. 30 years later, was it inappropriate? Well, we're going to talk about it.
Closed captioning provided by
Daily Blast Live is always timely, always focused, always ready, always on cue. This May, don't miss a day. DBL is all new every day.
Based on Al's beautiful testimony, I want to ask everybody, what is a venue that they can shut down just by going in?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay.
So good.
And it might just be your poker game because there are family members that are famous. You know, like the barbecue doesn't start till somebody gets there.
Yeah.
The poker game doesn't start. No one starts cooking
I'm
till somebody gets there.
a little bit in my family.
In what way?
Like the bat mitzvah don't start till I walk in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what's up.
Yeah. I mean,
really
for real.
great.
And I think that that's fun. But I was trying to think, is there any place that I could shut down, like a mini Target, an independent bookstore?
I know my place is VV Pho.
What's that?
The pho place down the street.
They know her very well. Lindsay is Papados. They know her at Papados very well, so much so that I went to Papados to get recognized and did not get recognized at Papados. But Nick the waiter, anyway, yeah. What do you think you could shut down?
Oh, I couldn't.
You could shut down a lot, I feel like.
No.
You could shut down a super Target.
A super Target?
Maybe like
please. I'm in Target a lot, and it's not a problem.
You know,
I'm in Target all the time, actually. I secretly love Target.
It's weird here because it's actually, I realize this because we are a national show, that every market that we're in thinks that we're their local show.
Yeah.
So it's really weird. Like in Atlanta more so than any place else, people are a lot more vocal about recognizing you.
Should I go to Atlanta then? Okay.
Atlanta, Austin, I was a little surprised about that. But yeah, everyone thinks that we're their local show.
Funny.
So we are.
Yeah, we are your local show. We're your national local show.
Alan Grant.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
Ooh. Wow, that feels good. Next month, Laura Dern and Sam Neill will return to their iconic roles in the new Jurassic World movie, but could their love story exist in today's world? So in the original movie, Laura and Sam's characters were romantically involved, if you remember, but did you know Laura was 23 and Sam was 44 at the time of filming? That's a 21-year age gap. They talked about it recently, with Sam saying at the time it was a completely appropriate age difference for a leading man and lady, and Laura also said about the same thing. It felt completely appropriate to fall in love with him, meaning the character Sam in the film.
How many archaeologists are there? You know what I mean? Like,
good, that's a really great point.
It's not a huge dating pool. There's a few good ones, and they dig well, and you're attracted to them. I mean, to me, they were interested in the same kind. These two and this love story was iconic for me, and I loved it because she was a smart scientist. He was a smart scientist. They respected each other's head and education. I have no issue with this.
Yeah, you know what's weird about this, guys? It's like we're talking about the age gap, but it seems weird because every trope that we have now is like love who you love. We don't care who you love. Be in love no matter who they are. And obviously, this falls in the league. This is legal. So, like, how dare we even discuss this? I think the bigger thing in 2022 would be should they be dating in the workplace, because he is her superior in this, because he has more experience.
Power dynamic.
So it would be more the power dynamic than the age.
Interesting.
Because I think the age thing could go into ageism, which
what if they flipped it and the woman was the older one and there was a 20 and young? Do you think that would play today?
I think so.
See, I have a theory on just people criticizing, people's relationships in general, because I definitely have a relationship that's always up for debate for some reason because my husband happens to be white.
What?
Yes. I don't think that it's actually for most people, it's the aesthetic. It's something about what they're seeing that they're having some type of reaction to. Now, when you see Laura and Sam standing next to each other, you're not like, oh, she's 21 years younger.
They look the same.
You don't see it.
Totally.
But if one of them presented a little older or a little little less mature in the face.
Because she doesn't look 23, does she?
Right. So it's like if it presented like there was a bigger age gap, then it would be a problem, because sometimes when my husband, I love him so much, I'm older than him. And there have been times when people have made comments about me going after this older man, and I'm like, but I'm the cougar. So what's your problem really about?
I robbed a cradle
when I looked at that picture, it's like, I think it should work. And I always tell my daughter this, she's about almost dating age, always go after a man that can pull off a neck bandana. And that guy, he could pull off any man that can pull that off.
He looks great.
Tapping in.
That's a good man. Because that takes confidence.
Giving your daughter advice.
Takes confidence, Erica.
No, I'm going to tap in on the dating advice for your daughter. It's not going to start with a neckerchief.
I'm here for it.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'm here for it.
Jeff knows.
Even though I can't pull it off. But
no,
I can't take it.
That's a special man.
That sounded weird. That sounded super weird.
The one who Scooby-Doo, Fred, he pulls one off.
He's got the side one. He's got a little, okay. Sorry.
This poor child.
I like it. All right, coming up on DBL, our interview with the very funny Craig Robinson. He gives us the deets on his new show, Killing It.
I feel
The World Health Organization will meet in Geneva to discuss how to best respond to future pandemics. Among the ideas is a U.S. proposed amendment to improve ways of detecting, reporting, and responding to public health events worldwide. Some social media users are referring to this as a pandemic treaty and are using the hashtag #StopTheTreaty to voice their opposition to the amendment. On a podcast hosted by Steve Bannon, former Minnesota Representative Michelle Bachmann claimed the amendment could give the WHO control over the United States. Several Verify viewers emailed us to ask about these claims. So let's verify. Would the pandemic treaty give the WHO control over governments during a global health crisis? Our sources are the International Health Regulations, proposed amendments to the regulations, and the WHO. The International Health Regulations are part of an international law that outlines the responsibilities of WHO member countries, like the U.S., when there's a public health emergency. It requires that countries report what's happening and that the WHO offer assistance. Earlier this year, the U.S. proposed several amendments to the regulations based on what we learned during the COVID-19 pandemic. They include adding early warning criteria, a request to provide genetic sequence data, and outlines a time frame for when and how countries can ask the WHO for support. It does not give the WHO authority over member countries. The amendment repeatedly states that countries can reject the WHO's assistance. So, no, the pandemic treaty would not give the WHO control over governments during a global health crisis. It doesn't give the agency any new authority and only outlines how they can help at the request of a member country. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. You know our next guest from NBC's Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Office. Earlier, we caught up with Craig Robinson to chat about his new show, Killing It, where he revealed how he overcame his fear of snakes. Check it out. Craig Robinson, hello, welcome to DBL. We're so excited to talk to you today. Two of your most famous characters are Daryl Philbin from The Office and Doug Judy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And I have my favorite, but who, if you had to pick, would be your favorite between those two?
Oh, wow. Why are you doing me like this?
Starting off rough.
Maybe Doug, because he gets away with so much.
Everything.
It's so much fun. It's so fun always. And then having a best friend like Jake, but then to be able to always get away with stuff and outsmart him, but still be his buddy is a truly fun thing to play.
Good. It looks like you're having fun, so that's good to hear.
We have a lot in common. You were a teacher. I was a teacher. I taught 7th grade science for 5 years. I know that you were a lot of people might not know that you were a music teacher. So tell us what the craziest thing was that happened in the classroom.
There was one class who they had like a security guard and a teacher all day with them until they sent the music class. Then it was like, go ahead.
Get it out.
So I remember having to figure out a way to get their attention. And so it turned out I had to like roast them. Yes. And like once I started roasting them, I could I could sneak in something in between and be like, yeah, whatever I say, and then be like, okay, by the way, Beethoven, yada yada. So yeah, I was a music teacher.
That's how you have to do it, man. What I used to do is I played on the kids' hatred for each other.
Oh, lovely.
So I would just be like, this side of the room really understands it. We should just move on because you guys can't get it. And they're like, but no, we got it. We'll learn it. Yeah.
You started a civil war in the class.
That's how you do it. Yeah.
That's so rude.
Period 2, they understood this. You guys, your class now.
No, this team sucks. All right, let's talk about your new show, Killing It. What was it like working with the snakes?
It's fun for me working with snakes. I used to have a fear of them until I went to Australia several years ago with my band, The Nasty Delicious, thank you. And we met these cockatoos, we met these kangaroos, and then when they got to the snakes and we were taking pictures and stuff, they put the snake around my neck, and I realized then these snakes mean me no harm. Why am I afraid? The snake, I've been misled by the Bible and Indiana Jones. So it turned out to be nice, and I love snakes now.
It sounds like Jumanji.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And he needs to be in studio. Next time you're in Denver playing Red Rocks or playing the Comedy Works, man, come on in the studio, man. We're here in Denver.
You are absolutely welcome.
I sure appreciate it. I sure will.
Craig, thank you so much. I was like, Craig, thank you so much
his brother.
Yeah.
He's coming on tomorrow.
Craig is coming on tomorrow. Greg Robinson. Craig, thank you so much.
He plays cornerback for the Jets.
And he's good. Yeah. Craig, thank you so much for chatting with us. And be sure to watch Killing It, guys. It's on Peacock.
I appreciate you getting the word out. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
European and American health authorities have identified a number of monkeypox cases in the recent days, mostly in young men. But what is monkeypox? Where are these cases and how does it spread? I'll walk you through what we can verify using these sources. Question 1. What is monkeypox? According to the CDC, the illness was first identified by scientists in 1958, when there were 2 outbreaks of a pox-like disease in research monkeys, hence the name monkeypox. The disease originates in wild animals, like rodents and primates, and it occasionally jumps to people, but human-to-human transmission is also possible. The first known human infection was in 1970 in a 9-year-old boy in Africa, where the disease is now endemic. But on Wednesday, a Massachusetts resident tested positive for monkeypox, making it the first case detected in the United States this year. There are also confirmed cases in Portugal, Spain, and England. Health experts say these recent cases are surprising because it's the first time that monkeypox appears to be spreading among people who didn't travel to Africa. Question 2. What are the symptoms of monkeypox? Most patients experience fever, rash, and swollen lymph nodes, according to the WHO. Although people with more serious illness may develop a rash and lesions on the hands and face that can spread to other parts of the body. Monkeypox can be fatal for up to 1 in 10 people and is thought to be more severe in children. Question 3. How does it spread? Monkeypox is transmitted from one person to another through contact with lesions, body fluids, respiratory droplets, and contaminated materials, such as bedding. And finally, is there a treatment or vaccine? In September 2019, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved Jynneos, a vaccine for smallpox and monkeypox. Adults 18 years of age and older who are determined to be at high risk for smallpox or monkeypox infection are eligible for that vaccine. That includes the elderly, people with certain medical conditions, and those who are or were recently pregnant. So how much should people worry about this?
Because you're not infectious when you're not symptomatic, I think you have greater chance of eradicating it. I am much more concerned about coronavirus at the moment.
If you have more questions about monkeypox, just tweet us at @VerifyThis. With your Verify, I'm Adiante Till.
It's a common gripe this time of year, but for some who work all day outdoors, it's downright dangerous. United Farm Workers tweeted, "Heat is the leading weather-related killer." So let's verify. Is heat historically the leading weather-related killer in the U.S.?
Our sources are FEMA and the National Weather Service, which estimates an average of 138 people died annually from extreme heat in the United States over a 30-year period ending in 2020.
FEMA says extreme heat is, quote, responsible for the highest number of annual deaths among all weather-related hazards, unquote, more than floods, tornadoes, and hurricanes, according to a 30-year average from the National Weather Service. The gap has narrowed over the last 10 years, and tornadoes took the top spot in 2020. But the CDC says to expect more extreme heat in the future due to climate change. So we can verify it's true. Heat is historically the leading weather-related killer in the U.S. Remember to take breaks and hydrate often as the summer season settles in. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. As the nationwide baby formula shortage continues, there's a new worry for parents. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. There have been a number of instances of scammers luring desperate parents with fake offers for baby formula on social media. The scammer asks parents to send money on payment apps like Venmo in exchange for baby formula, charging them as much as $80. So how can you protect yourself? Never, ever give strangers money online. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-953-0836 or visit lifelock.com to learn more.
Scum of the earth.
You know, wherever there's going to be a shortage, there are going to be scammers,
scum.
so protect yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that's all you can do.
It's just awful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got nothing left to say. We got 10 seconds left.
Well, you should have said that in like 3 seconds left.
Well, I thought someone else was going to jump in and help me out. See you tomorrow, everybody.